up in the 90s and early 2000s like I did, you may think that you've seen the last of Black Friday insanity. While Black Friday still exists even in 2025, it is vastly different from what it used to be. It's still a significant shopping day, though those sales have shifted to more of online platforms rather than brick and mortar stores. The once legendary crowds and long lines that used to exist for Black Friday shopping experiences are now on the internet. But some brands are creating their own mini versions of Black Friday year long. A toy, a coffee cup, a water bottle. Suddenly, they're sold out before breakfast, resale prices explode, people are camping out outside of stores, and it all ties into the online presence that Black Friday exists within today. Because now these mini Black Fridays that are happening year long come in the form of viral drops, seasonal products, limited time only merchandise from brands. Today we dive into examples of products that turned ordinary items into viral products that created a shopping craze and turned people into animals. The animals that we used to see fist fighting each other in stores trying to get their hands on whatever it was for Black Friday. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Video footage of people stampeding over others in line to get to this however many inch screen TV. And I am laughing, but it is not funny. So just think of those images that you used to see again if you are somewhere around my age, grew up during that time, of all the chaos and craziness and insanity that ensued for Black Friday shopping experiences. Now we have the same exact thing happening, but for viral product drops, items going viral on TikTok. And like I said, we're going to cover some examples of products like these that have gone viral and caused people to lose their goddamn minds. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley, and in today's video, we are examining how Black Friday in-person shopping experiences have shifted to online experiences, and more specifically, mini Black Fridays happening year long due to brands releasing seasonal product drops, limited time products, and creating a scarcity mindset within the public, using social media to promote these products, have them go viral so that everybody wants to get their hands on one. And the result is watching people argue and fist fight and trample over each other in line to try to get their hands on some type of limited product, or what we've been made to think are limited products by brands who are essentially looking down at everyone and laughing all the way to the bank. We're starting with chapter 1, the anatomy of a viral product. Number 1 is the scarcity mindset and this limited edition idea that is put into people's minds. And we're going to use the Starbucks Barista Cup as our first example. The Barista Glass Bear Cup that Starbucks dropped just released in November of 2025 this year. It sold out immediately and resale prices skyrocketed to over $1,000. Mind you, this is a $30 glass cup with a hat on it shaped like a bear with a straw with the Starbucks logo on it. Okay, $30 for this glass cup, probably cost less than $5 to make. Not only were they selling it for $30 and people were buying it and buying multiple, but then resellers were getting their hands on it and jacking up the price because so many people wanted to get their hands on one, charging over $1,000 sometimes. That Barista Cup, as I'm making this video, that dropped literally days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, and became sort of a collectible item because of the rarity of it, which Starbucks absolutely knew exactly what they were doing. They only sent 3, sometimes 4 cups to each Starbucks store, knowing full well that people were going to be showing up en masse to get their hands on one, which of course ensued in chaos and people blaming Starbucks workers, berating employees. Employees were buying the cups themselves, which they are allowed to do, and that created friction between the customers and the employees. And again, Starbucks is just sitting up there in their offices, just laughing at everyone and making a lot of money. Social media and this idea of FOMO also plays into these viral products and the public's apparent need to get their hands on them. TikTok and Instagram specifically drive hype for products like the Barista Cup. The Labubus were another example that exploded in popularity sometime last year and are almost obsolete now, just a year later. They're not as popular as they were. I predict people are going to start getting rid of them, giving them to thrift shops. They were kind of like Beanie Babies for a quick moment, but didn't even have the longevity that Beanie Babies did. And that popularity of Labubus, like the Barista Starbucks cup, was created on social media. Then we had the Stanley Cups, a water tumbler, which some magazine articles mentioned how the tumbler was elevated to a status symbol. There is also an emotional and identity value that goes into wanting or buying these products. In people's minds, they aren't just buying a cup or a toy. They're buying a sense of belonging, a sense of being a part of something, a part of a moment, part of a story. For example, with Labubus, you had a lot of specific special types of Labubus. Some of them were tied to designer clothing. You could dress them up in different brand name clothes. Some of them were tied to K-pop culture and an overall collectible subculture. Stanley's, for example, almost became part of this sort of organized, aesthetic, almost clean girl lifestyle. A couple other items before we dive deeper into each one were the Spirit Halloween tote bags that were released this past Halloween of 2025, which is actually what gave me the idea to create this video. I had the idea, and then once the Barista cups dropped, I kind of remembered it again. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to go record that. But when those Spirit Halloween tote bags were released, everyone was trying to get their hands on them. Resellers were selling them for higher prices than they were in stores. And they were just mini tote bags with different spooky designs on them. I actually had seen about 3 of them in the local Spirit Halloween where I live. And I kind of like looked at them and was like, I don't know, like, should I buy one of these? But I had no use for it. I almost thought about getting it in case other friends of mine on Instagram wanted one, because some people do that in the spooky community where they will get a viral item and then ship it out to someone else who might want it, just for the regular price, not reselling it or anything like that for a higher price. But I didn't even do that. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna leave these 3 here. Maybe someone will want them and take them. But just the fact that there were 3 in my store alone was unexpected based on the hype over them all over TikTok. I wasn't expecting to see them in the store. Another Halloween item that was part of this sort of viral have to get my hands on it moment were the Hello Kitty Halloween blankets. That was, I think, a year or a couple of years back that they were being released in HomeGoods. People were hyping them up on TikTok, and people were getting in line at HomeGoods super early in the morning to try to get their hands on them. People were accusing workers, employees in the store of hiding them in the back or buying them all out. All right, we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into each of these viral products, and we're starting with Chapter 2, Labubu Collectibles. Labubus were created by a Hong Kong-born Belgian artist named Casing Lung. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And the entire Labubu brand launched with a cult following through blind box vinyl figures. By 2025, the craze had fully exploded. Collectors were reporting spending over $300 and similar amounts for one single Labubu. There was someone, according to People.com, who had a collection that was worth $10,000 with over 150 Labubus. Part of the viral popularity of Labubus was the blind unboxings of them, not knowing which version or variation you were going to open, which creates a sense of excitement. There were also limited runs of Labubus and secret figures being released. That helps to increase rarity, and again, this scarcity mindset. If it's a limited edition release, they're only going to release so many of them, so you have to get one now. Labubu specifically were also tied to streetwear, K-pop, and influencer culture, and the result was people lining up at Pop Mart stores or ordering them online, paying resellers insane prices for them, and essentially spending money that maybe they didn't have just to increase or complete their collections. But just like those Beanie Babies in the 90s, the question looms, will they hold any value? Some analysts had worried that the trend would collapse, and like I said, it already seems to be on its way out. And I would like to say that as a child of the 90s, I did not purchase Beanie Babies with the intention of reselling them at any point in time. My brother and I were kids, we just bought them because we loved them. They were popular, they were cute, they each had a name and a little poem on the tag. It wasn't until after their popularity decreased that we thought, oh, these might be worth something one day. And I still have an entire closet full of Beanie Babies at my parents' house in New York. I just don't have the heart to get rid of them, nor will I. As a matter of fact, one little guy right here that sits on my vanity. His tag is long gone, except for this one. So this is Daisy the cow. There's her little TY tag. And yeah, got her in the 90s and she's still going strong just like a lot of them. But I don't really know if I see the same fate for Labubus, I guess. Maybe people keep them around if I kept these guys around, but they're not worth anything. Maybe a few very rare ones like the Princess Diana bear, or some like super limited edition ones that were expensive the time they were released as well, maybe are worth more. All right, let's get back on track here. The point is that this type of frenzy surrounding things like Beanie Babies or Labubus mirrors the Black Friday frenzies that used to take place. Early mornings, people camping out in lines, camping out outside of stores, trying to be the first one there, trading them, secret variants and releases, all around a figurine or toy or stuffed animal that costs less than $20 in most cases. And we know that Starbucks cup alone was 30 bucks. All right, let's dive into our next product, which is the Barista Starbucks Bear Cup that, like I said, was just released this November, just days ago. What I have seen thus far involving this Starbucks Barista Cup has been nothing short of insanity. Queues in line outside Starbucks and Targets, resale listings. There was a lady on TikTok who lives in Seattle who went to the Starbucks headquarters to try to get a bear cup. I used to live in Seattle, and that's just insane. So if you haven't seen it already, the Starbucks Barista Bear Cup is shaped like a bear. It's a glass cup. It almost looks like those honey containers that are shaped like bears. It has a green hat and a green straw and the Starbucks logo on it. This thing sold out in minutes. People were arriving at 2 a.m. to wait for Starbucks to open, which some of them open at 4 or 5 a.m., which I didn't even realize they opened that early. But many people showed up that early to only be told by the Starbucks employees that these bear cups had been reserved, which means the employees were buying them. Obviously, people who had gotten there early or waited in line were not happy to hear that. However, according to the Starbucks baristas, they are perfectly able, just like everyone else, to buy these cups. And they have an advantage because they get to work earlier than anyone else, earlier than any customers. So they do have that advantage to get there, scope out the scene, and buy their bear cups if they want to. All right, so what creates this level of frenzy? Because these videos with these Starbucks bear cups, people are putting hands on each other, yelling in the stores, yelling at employees, fighting with each other, just scenes of exactly what we used to see for Black Friday. So Starbucks creates this frenzy because they create brand prestige. People, for whatever reason, think Starbucks is like this holy grail. You see it every year when the pumpkin spice lattes drop, and then the holiday drinks, everyone's like showing off their little Starbucks cup. You do you, and if you love Starbucks, go for it. I also love a lot of Starbucks drinks, but I tend to try not to purchase from there often because I don't really want to support their company. They're also really, really expensive, and I don't personally like their business practices. But I do drink an occasional cup of tea or latte, coffee, whatever it is from Starbucks. That being said, they create the own hype around their brand, right? They've been around for a long, long time, but social media has really hyped them up even further. They have seasonal drops every year. Most popular for them would be fall and holiday drinks. People are foaming at the mouth for them to drop their seasonal drinks, especially during those two seasons. So you've got the brand prestige, you've got the seasonal drops. Then you've got a viral visual with this bear. It looks aesthetically pleasing. It's cute. It's functional for drinking your coffee. It ties into the holidays and the season. Then lastly, you have peer pressure, or this sense of FOMO and needing to belong. Especially if you're already a fan of Starbucks and their seasonal drops, then you're obviously going to want this item. Because of all the frenzy and the craziness, Starbucks did have to release a statement, and they announced a collaboration coming with Roller Rabbit and a new drop because of exceeded expectations from the first one. While I did mention that this cup is functional for drinking your coffee, I mean, you can pour a beverage in it and drink out of it. I think that's functional. That's really not why people are buying it. People are buying it to be part of this moment, to have something that's rare, to have something that maybe other people weren't able to get, kind of showing off on social media, because most of the people who have acquired one of these bear cups have run straight to TikTok to post about it and show it off. And you can guarantee that every single person who got one of these bear cups probably already has a minimum of 5 reusable drink containers at home. They've probably got a Stanley. They probably got 3, which then defeats the entire purpose of a reusable water bottle. Why do you need 5? And that is only my personal opinion, and I have a few water bottles. Have I spent money on all of them? No, I have not, because I personally don't want to spend my money on water bottles. but I have several because some of them are old, some of them were given to me, some of them came as, I don't know, gifts or brand collabs along the way. As I already said, Starbucks knew full well what they were doing with this drop. You have to create that scarcity mindset in order to get people all up in arms and in a frenzy, because then you know that they're gonna go en masse to acquire this product and you're going to make a lot of money from it. But the outcome for most people and people who did not get their hands on one of those bears: disappointment, queues in line, dupe products flooding the market, which there already is one on Amazon, people spending money they don't have, people buying things they don't need, all to be a part of this viral moment. And like, if you want that bear cup and you think it's just the cutest thing ever and it makes you happy, then go ahead, enjoy. I hope you get your hands on one. Just don't go out there and buy it just because everyone is and you feel like you need to. Buy it because you love it. Buy it because it means something to you. Maybe it reminds you of something or someone. Maybe you want to make someone else happy by gifting it to them because you know that they really want one, or they have some sort of meaning attached to it. But don't just get it because it's a viral product, because you know that that little bear is going to end up in your local Goodwill a few months down the line and no one's going to care about it anymore. Let's move on from this barista cup. I've had enough of it. Let's move on to chapter 4, the Stanley tumblers. The Stanley Quencher tumbler, to be specific. Finally, we have reached the Stanley. The Stanley Quencher H2O, or whatever it's called. You know the one. Industrial design meets influencer culture. What used to be a rugged outdoor water bottle suddenly became a must-have accessory among the internet's perceived it girls. The Stanley tumblers were one of the must-have products from last year. There were limited edition drops like the Wicked drops. There was a Valentine's Day drop. There's a Halloween Stanley. A lot of these were in collaboration with Target and were released at Target, which caused the same chaos as the bears to ensue. People lining up outside, trying to be the first ones in there, trampling over each other, pushing each other out of the way, but ultimately selling out overnight. So why is a water tumbler, a reusable water bottle, selling like a designer bag? Like the Labubus and the Bear Cup, it fits this collect them all mentality. If someone's interested in Stanleys, then they're like, I have to have every single one. Or at least people with that collectible mindset or scarcity mindset even. Or I don't really know what kind of mindset that is, that you need to have the same water bottle in every color. And I say that as someone who used to collect sneakers in all different colors, the same sneaker. When I was in high school and college, I was a huge overconsumer. So were a lot of my friends. I remember my best friend in middle school had the Adidas were popular at the time, the white Adidas sneakers with the different colored Adidas logo. So everyone had a pair of those Adidas, and my friend had, no lie, like 14 pairs in all different colors. The same shoe, just all different colors. So I say that knowing full well that this was me at one point in time. And if that's you, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. So besides the collect them all mentality, it also serves as a status symbol of sorts, because people know that they're expensive, people know that everyone wants them, people know they're this viral product. So if you have one, then you must be just like all these influencers and so-called it girls who have them too. On top of that, a Stanley water bottle or any kind of water bottle, a Walla, whatever it is, they are actually functional. You are supposed to put liquid in them and drink the liquid to hydrate yourself. So that kind of helps people justify spending more money on them or buying more of them because they are so functional. You also had that viral TikTok story of a person getting into an accident. Her car was set on fire and the Stanley survived that fire. That then puts the product on a pedestal, letting everybody know that it is durable, it is a quality item, and it is worth the money, which very well may be true, but do you need 5 of them? Moving on, I know I already touched on these Halloween items. We're going to retouch on the Spirit Halloween tote bags. Those 2025 canvas mini tote bags from Spirit Halloween were a TikTok viral item and rapidly listed on resale markets, like a lot of the items that I'm mentioning in this video. Spirit Halloween had limited purchases to 2 per customer. There was a bat design. I can't remember what the other ones were, to be honest. I know there was one with I think just a Spirit Halloween logo. This item blew up because it was a seasonal item during Halloween time. Spirit Halloween also has a cult status during Halloween season, so that also helped with having this product go viral. It's a cheap item. It's a canvas tote bag, a mini canvas tote bag, but was made rare by only releasing so many of them, having these limited styles. There were 3 different designs, and specific drop timing right around Halloween season became a social media must-have item like everything else in this video. People showing off their totes. I got mine. Did you get yours? Here's the one that I got. Even if that mini tote bag was a modest cost, which it was, the social bragging and limited stock of the items then turn it into this complete frenzy, a chase to find these limited items. The visual appeal is obviously online, with people showing off their tote bags, with the brand promoting their tote bags, and sort of this look what I got content, or look what I scored. It's so rare, but I have it. So just returning once again to this Black Friday behavior that we now see with viral items. Brands or companies will often set purchase limits per customer. These items will quickly sell out. There is this media-driven urgency to acquire these items and acquire them quickly before they're gone or they're no longer trending, and reseller activity. All the makings of a good Black Friday crap show. Next, we have my last section. What does all of this teach us as consumers, and what kinds of patterns emerge in each of these cases of a viral item or a viral drop? These limited editions from these brands create this scarcity mindset that I've mentioned several times, but it is an artificial scarcity. Like the Starbucks Bear Cup, only a certain amount of these items are being released at any given time because these brands know that people are going to go crazy for them. So of course, they are creating a demand for the product. We have that sense of artificial scarcity being created intentionally by brands to get you to spend money on them. Then we have resale value driving early purchase behavior. So not only from resellers, but regular consumers as well. You have resellers who are going to get this product knowing that people will pay top dollar for it. And then you have regular consumers going to get this item just in case it becomes even more rare, or in case you can't find any because it already is so rare. Then you have this sense of functionality that helps you as a consumer to justify making a purchase. So again, the Stanley tumbler, well, I can use it to put my water in. The Starbucks cup, it is a drink container. I could put any kind of liquid in it. I'm not sure about the functionality for a Labubu. I don't have one for that. Maybe something you can display in your home if you are a collector. And then you also have brand collaborations like the Wicked Stanley tumbler drop, where you're sort of tying a story into your product. So when you have that story and a brand collaboration and perfect timing for the drop, like when Wicked is being released in theaters or whatever it is, you have viral gold. But all of these things and this entire model that brands are using raises a lot of questions. Are consumers being manipulated into making impulse buys? Of course they are. That is literally the brand's job, is to get you to spend your money. So yes, of course, consumers are being manipulated into making purchases and impulse purchases. Some people might not care. I personally do. But that is only my opinion, and you are perfectly welcome to have your own as well. That is just my personal opinion as someone who used to overconsume and is now in a phase of my life where I am trying to not do that and actually do the opposite if I can. If spending money on these things makes you happy, then by all means, enjoy. Another question is, how sustainable is it to buy tons of specialty items every year? They're inevitably going to end up in a landfill like so many other things. Is it really necessary to have these items in your home? Are they going to be useful? Are they going to be functional? Do you actually need them? Are you going to feel that same sense of joy and happiness and elation from getting a coveted Starbucks Bear Cup that you might feel now? Are you still going to feel that 5 months from now? Are you just going to look at that empty, dust-covered bear sitting on your shelf and go, it was cute? To start to sum all of this up, brands and companies are creating their own mini Black Fridays all year long whenever they want, leveraging the same psychology, scarcity, urgency, exclusivity that existed when people would line up for in-person Black Friday shopping experiences before things shifted to more of an online model. So, as a consumer who maybe is trying not to spend money that you don't have or consume things that you don't need, what can you do? If you are tempted by the next viral drop of any kind of product, here's what you should know and what you could do. Set a budget for yourself. Even if you are a collector or you like to collect certain things like different kinds of tumblers or toys, figurines, collecting is not always an investment, and sometimes it is straight up a waste of your hard-earned money. So you can set a budget for yourself and only spend a little bit of money, maybe get one thing instead of four. You can research the authenticity of the product that you might be purchasing, especially if they're blind box toys or limited runs of items. Make sure that you're not buying a fake item or a dupe that someone created, because if you are going to spend money on something, you want it to be the real thing, especially if you're a collector. Use resale value as only a bonus and not a reason to buy something. If you think an item like the bear cup is going to be very rare and you feel like you want to get your hands on one now because you might be able to sell it later, or it might be even more rare later and you just want to have one, try not to use that as the only reason you're buying something. Think about whether or not you really want the item. Ask yourself, will I use this item, or is it just hype? So again, do you want it because you actually want it and you're going to use it for a long time and make good use out of the item? Or do you just want it because it's a viral item and everybody else wants it? Just because you can camp outside of a store at 2 o'clock in the morning and wait until they open doesn't mean that you should. Virality is fine, but in my opinion, intentional purchasing beats compulsive trend buying any day. So in conclusion, from Labubu figurines to bear cups to Stanley tumblers and canvas totes, we've watched the sale of these ordinary products become stages for cultural moments. Brands are staging their drops, consumers are lining up, social media is watching, and it's really not just shopping anymore. It's all sort of one big spectacle, one that I personally am tired of watching. But thank you for watching this video and for being here. Please let me know your own opinion in the comments. Let me know if you have any of these items or thought about purchasing one. I do admit the Starbucks bear is very, very cute. Will I go buy it? No, I will not, but I can obviously see the appeal. This content's a little different from my typical Halloween horror related content. And like I said earlier, those Spirit Halloween canvas tote bags were kind of what planted the seed for this video. So it did stem from Halloween season and a Halloween item. Maybe I will have some more stories of culture, commerce, and chaos coming your way. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Definitely subscribe if you are into spooky season like me, because that is what the majority of this channel surrounds. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.